We're hunting for value in our drafts. Let's talk about the most undervalued players in fantasy right now on FFT Express. We welcome you here. I'm Adam Azer with Jamie Eisenberg. And Kyler Murray is a layup at QB10. You said on the show that we just did, Jamie, that he's your most rostered quarterback or one of your most rostered quarterbacks. I just think he has such a good chance of finishing at worst 10th. So you're drafting him basically at his floor. We love Kyler.
You know, you made me think about one of my rankings that I'm still torn on, which is Dak Prescott versus Kyler Murray. And so right now, Dak is QB7 for me, and Kyler is QB8. And I think I'm going to make that switch. It's easy in 4 points for passing touchdowns just because Kyler's going to run for more yards. And Dak was better than him last year, and I think Dak's season last year was probably better than Kyler's best year, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of finish.
Yeah.
Dak was QB3. So there's still a lot to like about Prescott, but if Kyler hits, and look, Marvin Harrison is not going to perform like CeeDee Lamb, and I don't think that the combination of Harrison and McBride, if you want to, sort of play this game, is going to be better than even Lamb and Ferguson, just because Lamb is so good. But Kyler's rushing, if he's back to that type of guy, is going to be fantastic. And so, Shane Steichen is not Shane Steichen, excuse me. Gannon is coming from the Eagles coaching tree. I know he's a defensive guy, but how much will he sort of allow Kyler to be a little bit Jalen Hurts like? How much will Drew Petzik, allow him to be a little bit, more of himself than Cliff Kingsbury was allowing him to do? There's just so much to like about Kyler Murray's upside. And I one thing I go back to also is he posted a picture last week, I think it was, or 2 weeks ago, of his entire receiving core, running backs, tight ends, everybody, all working out together. It feels like, remember the conversation? He plays too much Call of Duty. He's not motivated.
Yeah.
It feels like he's locked in. And this could be a really big year for Kyler Murray.
Is there really such a thing as too much Call of Duty? I wouldn't know. I've never played it.
I never have either.
Yeah, it seems very
I've only just been a sports video game guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that for me, but I'm not far from that. I am also not far from making T. Higgins a part of every one of my fantasy teams. He's pretty close to wide receiver 30. Get him in round 5. It's just, again, I think maybe this changes with Joe Burrow being fully cleared, but I never really got the sense that was the issue for T. Higgins in the eyes of fantasy drafters, because Burrow didn't seem to be a huge discount. Jamar Chase certainly wasn't a discount. I don't know why T. Higgins has fallen so much. Injuries were a big excuse for him last year. So I'm wiping last year's, slate clean, but giving him a clean slate here. I love T. Higgins, 61st overall in CBS ADP. I don't expect to get him that late, but in the 50s, to me, it's just a steal.
I feel like we're going to get a little market correction on 3 wide receivers that we overvalued probably a little bit last year. Is Jalen Waddle, who's still kind of going in that range, T. Higgins, and Devontae Smith. We drafted those guys at the 2-3 turn, and they disappointed, all 3 of them. Injuries, quarterback injuries, subpar play. Just wasn't the same type of performance that we got the year before. What's changed?
Yeah, right. So that's a great question. So, and I think you put Olave in that category too. Olave, people are even higher on this year than they were last year, even though I wouldn't say
Olave's situation, I think, changed for the better, though.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So his situation changes for the better, gets a new coordinator. Waddle's situation didn't really change at all, right?
No, him is, I think, more associated with health.
Devontae Smith didn't change for the better necessarily by bringing in.
I think he did.
You right, because of Kellen Moore?
Yeah.
Okay, very possible. And then Higgins, yeah, this is the one where, like, you talk about all these guys, Higgins is last. By far, he's last in ADP. So, yeah, it's just, if you want to dip back into that pool and say, hey, these guys are going to bounce back, he's the easiest one to do it with.
He is the easiest one to do it with. And look, if Burrow is healthy, and I know you feel this way because you're a big Bengals guy, if Burrow is healthy, they're going to have one of the best offenses in football. They're going to be a Super Bowl contender. And I don't think it's going to be because of Mike Gesicki and Jermaine Burton and all Jamar Chase. Like, it's going to fall on T. Higgins as well. And if you are of the belief that the contract situation is going to motivate him, there's that word again, to have a big season, it's right there in front of him. Like, didn't want to be franchise tagged, wanted to get paid like these other receivers. And I assume it's Ayuk 1 and him 2, right? In terms of the free agent market a year from now. Now somebody else may emerge that needs to get paid. Jamar Chase isn't getting free, for example. So, Those are the two, right?
Lamb's a free agent, but he won't be.
Those guys aren't leaving,
Right.
but maybe Tyreek Hill at 31, the Dolphins decide to move on and some team pays him. But those guys in their prime, hopefully coming off of big seasons for both of them, which would be great for fantasy managers. But yes, T. Higgins is as much of a layup you can find to get as maybe your third receiver. I mean, imagine that. That's
Yeah, exactly.
fantastic.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a quick break here on FFT Express, talk about a few more really good values. All right, we're back here. So, yeah, I mean, this is always going to depend on which site you're looking at. But Rhamondre Stevenson on CBS going 81st overall. Even I'm not a huge Rhamondre guy. I was avoiding him last year. But I do really like him at 81 overall. So this is after Tony Pollard, Zach Moss, Austin Eckler, just before Nick Chubb on CBS ADP, Rhamondre Stevenson. I think you'd like that, right?
I love it. I mean, again, I'm not of the belief that last year was as bad as it is made out to be because he was starting to get on track before the injury. And look, he was in as bad a situation as you can ask for, and it may be not that much better this year. You got to assume better offensive coordinator, scenario. Is the quarterback play dramatically better? Probably not, but better. Offensive line dramatically better? Probably not, but better. But I think the thing that's holding people back is the potential lack of role in the passing game because of Antonio Gibson. And that may be one of the more overvalued things. I don't know if it is, but it may be. I mean, Gibson's never lived up to the hype. We know that. Ron Rivera calling him the next Christian McCaffrey, was something that I think a lot of people fell for. You saw the skill set, but look, can he steal the entire passing downs role from Rhamondre? And I don't think that's the case. So I still think 40 plus catches is on the table, if not more. And would it shock you if he's a 1,400 total yard guy?
No, it wouldn't. And most of his catches come on first and second down anyway. He has never been the third down back, Rhamondre Stevenson. So it is what concerns me is that rookie quarterbacks and Jacoby Brissett in his career have not thrown the ball to running backs, all that much, but now you're getting like a 4-round discount from where he was last year. So they love him. That's I think what I don't love buying into coach speak. I usually don't, but they really love Rhamondre Stevenson. And I think they're going to try to make the offense run through him. So I think he's good.
They paid him that way.
Right. Exactly. And you know what? I got to say, I like Zach Moss even better. I don't think a lot of people have Moss ahead of him, but I've fallen for Moss. So he goes just ahead of him in our ADP. I don't think you like it that way, right? You like Stevenson better than Moss?
Yeah, but not by much. I think right now I have it Stevenson at 20 and Moss at 23. So you're talking about the two guys in between, and one may fall because it's Jonathan Brooks. And, if he's not cleared in a couple of weeks, then I will continue to move him down. And I believe the other one is Najee Harris, who, easy switch to make if Moss continues to get this type of hype and Najee's role is further limited by Jalen Warren. The upside probably favors Moss, if you're looking at it that way.
Last one for me, just with 1 minute left here. Caleb Williams going 117th overall. He's something like QB 15 on our website. I think he's a starter. I think he's a top 12 guy. He is the best quarterback prospect in years. He has the best wide receiving group that a rookie quarterback has maybe ever had. I don't know if that's ever been proven or whatever, but it's up there. And he didn't run for a lot of yards last year, but in his first 2 seasons, he ran for 370 or more yards. You give me 307, give me 400 yards in 17 games out of Caleb Williams, and then we got a top 12 quarterback easy. I believe he's QB 15, Jamie. I love the value.
He's great. I think I have him at QB 13 right now. And he's in that group of guys, I think, that you can say, if I miss, I'm happy with. You talked about this on the full-length episode on Tuesday, if you miss on Kyler Murray, for example. So starting for me with Jaden Daniels, just because I think the rushing upside gives him a little bit of a boost. But Daniels and Purdy and Williams and Tua and Goff and Trevor Lawrence, obviously a lot of people are going to feel different about several of those guys, but you shouldn't draft him as your only quarterback. I think that's the one thing with Caleb Williams and even Jane Daniels, just because, we romanticize a little bit too much about CJ Stroud did it. Why can't somebody else do it? Well, there's reasons why, Herbert's and Justin Herberts and CJ Stroud's come along once every few years. There's just rookie quarterbacks take some time. But yeah, there's a great opportunity. And it's funny, I just thought of this when you said rookie quarterbacks don't throw to running backs. There's a story that came out yesterday about Caleb Williams. I think first pass in camp, or one of his first pass in camp, went to DeAndre Swift. And the story was Caleb Williams already learning to take what's available to him.
Yeah.
So that would be the hope, is like these quarterbacks are getting coached a little bit better. You don't always have to extend plays and try and make a hero play. Take the 4 or 5 yard pass that's available to you, and maybe that player turns into something big.
That is Jamie Eisenberg. I am Adam Azer, and we have a mock draft right now. Dynasty Startup. Let's get on it. And we'll talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today Express.